With the recent boom of Sword and Shield era sets, whether or not it would be single cards or sealed product, it's been doing really well across the board. But let's talk about Scarlet and Violet. We're going to step away a little bit from all of the Sword and Shield talk that's going on at the moment, because pretty much everyone's talking about all of the booster boxes going out of stock on the Pokemon Center website and prices going up and up and up for a bunch of the Sword and Shield era sets. So we know what's going on over there. There are definite movements happening within the Scarlet and Violet era that is very interesting. All right, Scarlet and Violet era, you either love it or you hate it. I think it's going to be pretty good, and it's already proving that it's actually, doing well. Like, a lot of these sets are actually performing quite well. Temporal Forces and Paldea Evolved, regarding main sets, are doing very, very well. Obviously, Scarlet and Violet base is just trash, so it's just not doing very well. Obsidian Flames is a very big seller. Like, it's super popular, but the single card prices have just plummeted due to easy pulls. The Temporal Forces and Paldea Evolved have had good movements. Of course, 151 is an absolute juggernaut, and I do feel like it's going to do incredibly well. And Paladin Fates, believe it or not, Paladin Fates is very heavily printed. Like, I wouldn't say maybe as much as Shining Fates. Shining Fates got lots of reprints, and Paladin Fates is still quite new. It just had a big wave in general, and the thing is Paladin Fates is holding pretty strong. So today we're going to take a look at the Scarlet and Violet market, at different cards, different sealed products, because there is a potential here to get good stuff. Let's get into it. Alright, first one for today we're looking at is a Paldea Fates. Of course, it is a holiday set. We're not talking about a main set here. And it not long came out. It hasn't been out that long. But there is a ton of this product around. I mean, you can see sales of this already. People just trying to offload stock of this pretty much everywhere. Now, normally I would say, prices are going to be falling like crazy. Single card prices are super cheap. We see it all the time. We'll get to some of the big cards in a moment, but this is just a normal ETB, of course. It is super cheap to pick up, $36. Look, if you don't have this in your collection, this is different obviously to the Pokemon Center version, but just a normal one, even if you just want to crack packs, this is great. Yes, there's less packs than normal. If you're looking from an opening standpoint, I still think it's very, very good for the price. $36 is very, very good. Comes with an awesome looking promo. Of course, you got all the other goodies you get in there with an ETB. I think it's amazing. And the thing is, it's been dropping. We're looking around $44. From the initial release, normally it tends to be around about $45, $50. And then it starts to decrease. And even over here in the UK, this has been a lot cheaper. You can find some ETBs I've seen for less than 40. Good time. Really good time to pick up ETBs. Booster bundles as well. Super cheap. Now's a good time to get some sealed product. But the big chase card of the set is still the Charizard. It is holding strong, to be fair. Just over $100, $108. Has been declining, of course, and that is to be expected, right? But the pull rate to Paldea Fates for these top chase cards is quite tough. To be fair, it is actually pretty tough. And, this is... I believe this might be now the second most expensive card in the Scarlet and Violet era. I think the 151 Zard has taken over this one. So it's kind of like Battles of the Zards at the moment, but... it has been falling. We go back over the past month and pretty much when it came out, down from 120, did dip just slightly below 100 and it's upticked a little bit. Tough card to pull. We've opened up loads of Paldea Fates, still haven't seen it yet. Beautiful card, by the way. But I do expect it to continue to drop just because of how much Paldea Fates is out there. But this is a tough card to pull. Same goes with the Mew. There was lots of hype around the Mew, as you can see from the chart here. I mean, it did dip, and I did a video on it talking about the big hype. And there was just so much Paldea Fates around. There's so many packs were getting opened. And the downside is when you get so many packs opened, single cards are going to be worth less. Not become worthless, but they'll be worth less. And it did go up, went up from 100 and I was like, oh my days, this thing's jumping like crazy. And then it went right down to like a low 70s and is slight on an uptick. So still a good valuable card nonetheless. Beautiful card, big fan favorite. People want to get the chase of this. But again, tough card to pull. And it's doing okay, to be fair. It's holding the fort down and making it, a demand or a little bit more, enticing to crack packs to try and pull, which is actually pretty cool. And then finally with Paldea Fates, we have the Pikachu, the Baby Shiny Pikachu. This is the most expensive Baby Shiny in the set. And here's the thing, is there's so many Baby Shinies with this, it's crazy. There's so many Baby Shinies in Paldea Fates. To try and pull this specific Pikachu is very, very difficult. and it is going up in price. I mean, we see it. It was around 30 for the longest time and did actually dip just below about 26 there. And now look at it. It's one of the most expensive cards in the set. I've never pulled it. I've opened up a lot of Paladin Fates myself and, you know, in the streams. Yeah, crazy stuff. Honestly, crazy stuff is going on. So, yeah, I think this picture might actually continue to go high. I mean, we saw it in the past with the Suicune from Shining Fates. Did quite well for a long time. And then lots of reprints then just crushed the price of that card. Then if you go back to Hidden Fates, you have the, I believe it was the Eevee that is the most expensive baby shiny there. And that's hold a pretty good price point. But then again, Hidden Fates did get a lot of reprints. So we'll have to wait and see how Paladin Fates goes. But this is actually doing pretty well. Okay, on to Paldea Evolved. This is, in my opinion, the best set in the Scarlet and Violet era, like main set so far. I actually really like Paldea Evolved. Got some amazing illustration rares in there. Some really cool big chase cards. And that's quite appealing to me. Pull rates are a bit like quite tough. You know, you do get good volume of pulls, just as you would with any Scarlet and Violet era set now. But to get the top end cards is very, very difficult. The boxes are going up though, $106 now. You know, I'm not gonna be like, oh look it, go out and buy it. It's crazy, it's going up quickly. It's not. It's still cheap. Let's be fair. Even over here in the UK, you can pick this up for 100 or less than £100. You know, I think I've had some people, you know, mention to me. I've seen in comments and stuff. Basically, like Jace, have you heard? You know, Paldea Evolved. I think someone asked me, "Is like, it's sold out?" And I'm like, "Sold out where?" You know, this is everywhere. I mean, especially here in the UK, you just go online, you type in Paldea Evolved, and literally booster boxes just flying at me. You know, there's so many. So yeah, you can still easily buy Paldea Evolved. It's a good set. You know, if you're going to go for sealed, I would suggest picking this one up. It's still cheap. It's still good to get. One thing I have noticed though, and I don't know if you guys have noticed, but a lot of like the supplemental products, whether it be tins or collection boxes, premium collection boxes, whichever ones they are, within the Scarlet and Violet era, for some reason they just don't have any, or a lot of them don't have Paldea Evolved packs in. They'll have like Scarlet and Violet Base, Obsidian Flames, and then like a shed ton of Paradox Rift, but then nothing of Paldea Evolved. And I'm just like, wait a second. Like, I recently just opened up the Iono milk cartons, the premium tournament collection boxes. No Paldea Evolved. I even got Lost Origin. You know, I didn't even get Paldea Evolved. Very weird. You know, very, very odd. So, there are some still big cards in this set, which we'll get to in a moment. But yeah, this set is doing pretty well. If you haven't picked any up, now's a good time. It's still relatively cheap. It's been out a year, or nearly a year. I think it's been a year now since it's been out. So, good time. Good time to get it. Then we've got the Iono, which is one of the big chase cards. It was the big chase card of the set, but an old fish has overtaken it. So Iono is a very expensive card still, you know, sitting a price point at $76. Now, I'm happy that this has got overtaken by the Magikarp, which we'll get to in a moment, because I don't like the idea of trainers as a whole as the big chase card. I like the fact that we get Pokemon, and it's kind of nice that Iono is a beautiful card. It has been overtaken by the Magikarp. Still holding, you know, down the fort at a reasonable price. To me, this is still a big chase card to get in Paldea Evolved. So yeah, it's interesting. Now, Paldea Evolved has some pretty good illustration rares in it as well. Really tough to pull this card, so you got to be careful with the pull rates if you're cracking packs to try and pull one of these big heavy hitters. And then we had the fish. I was going to do a whole separate video on the fish, but I'm not going to do a whole video on just one on this card. But yeah, this is doing insanely well. This card was, you know, trailing the Iono for a long time, and it was back and forth of which one could be the most expensive, and I was like, I bet the Magikarp will eventually overtake the Iono, and it did, and it surpassed it quite a bit at $100. Over the past month, we've seen this card go from 70 or just below 70 to 100, so it's kind of had this recent little boom, really. We'll go back a year. Now, when this card first came out, there was a lot of hype around it. People realized how tough it was to pull, and then it shot right up, and then lots of the product was getting opened at the time, so it went back down, which makes sense. And then ever since, it's just been trailing up. So, and then now it's just had its highest ever price point. So, $100. I believe it's the third most expensive card in the Scarlet and Violet era. We have Charizard from 151, Charizard from Paladin Fates, and another Magikarp. Going back to OG Gen 1 is the trend here. But, hey, look, you know, that's really good. And that's why I think Paldea Evolved has the potential to do very well in the long term. Because you have a big old school card, old school Pokemon doing very well. Alright, let's talk about the newest set, Temporal Forces. Some people don't like this set. Tough pull rates. It is tough. It is. I'm not even going to ignore it. It is tough pull rates. You know, you do get a good number of hits. in the box. Well, I say the good number, you know, an okay number. But then on top of that, to get the chase cards, I mean, I broke down the pull rates, you know, in a video a while back. It's really difficult. If you want the big chase cards, it is tough. We have opened already about 5 boxes worth of this set, and we pulled 1 special illustration rare. It was the Iron Leaves, beautiful card by the way. But the cards have responded and reacted to basically the tough pull rates, and a lot of the single card prices did shoot up. I mean, the Iron Crown, which we'll get to in a moment, went crazy. I think it doubled in value in the space of like a week or 2. It was crazy. So it's nice to now look back on Temporal Forces now the dust settles since the set's come out. And booster boxes are around $100, a little bit less than $100 depending on where you shop. We expected this with like all the others. They've all followed the same trend in this era. I do believe this is going to be a good one in the future though. I do feel like there is a ton of amazing special illustration rares, a ton of amazing illustration rares as well in this set. On top of that, you have the tough pull rates. This one and Palais Evolved you got to look out for. I think already so far these are the 2 best ones, booster boxes to look out for. Let's talk about the Iron Crown. So the Iron Crown did really well, as you can see from the graph. It's currently $84. We go back over the past month because it hasn't been out that long. It was sat around $40-50. It wasn't the most expensive card on pre-release, and then people realized how difficult it is to pull, and then it shot up to $100. It was actually one of the most expensive cards in the Scarlet and Violet era, and it slowly started to trickle down. More and more people open packs, it's getting opened more. Even with tough pull rates, it is bound to drop in value. That is absolutely fine. I expect that. This is a gorgeous card. I think the illustration rares and the special illustration rares in this set are some of the best in the Scarlet and Violet era. I think they're phenomenal. I actually compared this to Chill and Rain. I think that this is on the same level as Chill and Rain. Tough pull rates. People are not really appreciating how many good special illustration rares or how many nice artwork cards there are in here, you know. And we're having Pokemon, yes, they're like paradox versions of older Pokemon, but it's still older Pokemon, you know, so that's one thing you got to look out for as well. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, beautiful card. It's still holding, you know, around $80, which is actually pretty good. Then we look at the long neck boy coming in, Raging Bolt. You know, we've got the legendary beast as well, you know, and that's really good. This one did shoot up as well, as, you know, lots of talks of pull rates. And again, it is now starting to decline. I mean, from $80 down to $70. It is not going back to where it was, because obviously it was like around $50. But still, this is a very, very good card. Big chase card, tough to pull. I think it will hold somewhat good value. But there are some cards that have been doing the opposite. So whereas this went up and then is now trickling back down, same with the Iron Crown. Morty's Conviction, on the other hand, has been doing the opposite. Look at the price of this. This is so far this is the closest we're getting to a special illustration rare Gengar apparently. So yeah, this card was around $45, then went down to less than 40, and now it's up to over 50. Well, keep an eye on it. It is creeping up the ranks of the most expensive card within this set. And there's one thing I've noticed with Temporal Forces: there's quite a lot of cards that have a decent amount of value. I'll give you an example. When we take a look at this set, we actually have a decent amount of cards that hold value. And when I look at how good a set is, it's like how many cards are over $50 or over, how many are over $30, how many are over $20, how many are over 10, right? You know, get that little like bang for your buck, as it were. So, you know, we're looking at, you know, 80 odd, right? And we go further down. So we look at the top 8 cards, we're still at $30. Now, a lot of the Scarlet and Violet sets, well, take Scarlet and Violet base, doesn't even have a card that is $30. We go even further. We go down the list. We've got more cards that are around $20. We've got Ghastly, beautiful card there, about $20. And we keep going down. And before we get to like 10, right, I'm nearly at the bottom of the page. So we're looking at 4, 8, 12, 16, 20 cards that are $10 or more. That's pretty good. For a main set, that's pretty good. Booster packs are cheaper from a main set than if you were going to buy a holiday set. I think that's really good. So that's something that we've got to look out for, you know, with this set and with these cards, because some of them are going up in price, you know, so it'd be really interesting to see how well Temporal Forces will do as more and more of it's out there. And here's the thing, a lot of people talked about the print run being shorter or less product available on release. I don't know if that's going to have an impact in the long run. Only time will tell. That's what's been going on in the Scarlet and Violet era sets. Like I say, Palais Evolved, Temporal Forces are very, very strong sets, and the cards are performing pretty well, especially the Magikarp as well. And then Palais and Fates. I mean, you've got the Charizard and you've got the Shiny Mew, which are kind of holding the fort down as well. And of course, booster boxes. Like I say, Palais Evolved and Temporal Forces are really cheap right now. Palais and Fates is also pretty cheap for those ETBs. You got to look at the Scarlet and Violet era. Yes, things are going crazy in the Sword and Shield right now, but when things are super cheap, that is the best time to pick them up, and that's what's been going on. For me, I'm looking at Palair Evolved and I'm going, you know what? This has good potential. Same with Temporal Forces. Now, things like Obsidian Flame, Scarlet and Violet Base, and Paradox Rift, not really the same. Overall, Scarlet and Violet era is doing pretty well, so I wouldn't ignore it just yet, even though Sword and Shield is doing insane things. If you made this fun to the video, guys, and you've enjoyed it, make sure to smash the like button and make sure to subscribe for more Pokemon content. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments about what's going on in the Scarlet and Violet era, especially some of the top cards like the Magikarp, which seems to be doing very, very well. Alright guys, that's it from me in this video. Thank you all so much for watching. You guys are legends, and I'll see you in the next one.